and welcome to another episode of Attitude. I'm Mary Arnott, your host and producer. On Attitude, my guests and I discuss important topics. Today, I'm especially honored that my guests are willing to talk about a subject that is serious, very serious: substance abuse recovery. With me are Jane Swagger and Leanne from Serenity House, located right here in Hopkinton. Serenity House is a place of hope and recovery that has helped hundreds of women regain their lives and independence after suffering the hardships of substance abuse. Jane Swagger has been the program director for Serenity House for more than 10 years and knows all too well that regaining a productive life of independence, free of abuse and trauma, takes commitment and hard work. Jane also works with the South Middlesex Opportunity Council Roads to Recovery program in Millbury, Massachusetts, and is a clinical supervisor for practicum interns at the Alcohol Chemical Dependency Treatment Services program for UMass Boston and Mass Bay in Framingham. My other guest is Leanne, who knows all too well the hardships of alcoholism and the difficult road to recovery, but also has experienced the benefits and support and the relationships at Serenity House. Recovery is very possible. As a recent graduate of Serenity House, Leanne is to be congratulated on her achievement and taking control of her life again. Welcome, Jane. Welcome, Leanne. Thank you both very much for being here.
Thank you.
Jane, I was wondering maybe if we could start a little bit about telling us about Serenity House, how long it's been in Hopkinton, is it part of a larger organization, a little bit about the background.
Serenity House is affiliated with South Middlesex Opportunity Council out of Framingham, and we call it SMOC. SMOC is a place where people in need, they get help with achieving economic and social self-sufficiency, and Serenity House is a part of that. Serenity House has been operating for almost 35 years now. We came to Hopkinton 16 years ago, and it's a recovery home, a 6 to 9 month inpatient recovery home for women that are self-admitted alcoholics and drug addicts. The women live there for 6 to 9 months. There's 4 phases in our program. The first phase is orientation, where they come in and we take them by the hand and we care for them, we show them a path. Then there's phase 1, 2, and 3. And let me see, there's so much.
I understand recently, just as a little way of background, that Serenity, you were able to actually purchase the home in which the women and some infants, you're able to care for infants too.
We just bought the home, South Middlesex Opportunity did. So we now own the house, which is great because first of all, the town of Hopkinton, I have to say, I've never seen so much love for us. We have 31 women that live there and 4 infant babies.
You're able to house that many.
House them,
How many
yes.
do you have in the program right now?
I have 26 women and 2 infant babies.
2 infants. Okay.
Yes.
And you started to talk a little bit about the program itself being 4-phase and what you go through. Leanne, I'd like to ask you, since you're a recent graduate, and again, congratulations.
Thank you.
On your recovery. Tell us a little bit about what the program was like for you and maybe some of the most difficult parts of it.
Well, when I went to Serenity House, I went there because, my life was completely out of control and I just needed to get it back. I'm a single mother of 3, so when I went to Serenity House, my biggest challenge was going there to get well, but also going there to get well without my children. So, when I went there, they taught me, the first month, they taught me how to take care of myself, which is the most important thing, because if I can't take care of me, then I can't be a good mother. And my biggest struggles there were learning to deal with the underlying issues that I had and working through them. After the first month, it's focusing on, trying to become a productive member of society and you know, living a normal life. And just a lot of the struggles with me were just facing a lot of my problems that I didn't face before. And they helped me do that with counseling and therapy, and slowly worked my kids back into my life. And
Wonderful.
yeah.
So Jane, Leanne talks about some of the services that are part of the program, and it seems like it's quite extensive. Therapy, support. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about each of the aspects of the program, what is offered.
Every woman comes in and she gets a program counselor. We hook services up to our behavioral health services in Framingham. Some of the therapists come to the house the first 60 days. We offer, if a woman comes in with a baby, we offer WIC services. We hook them up with the services that they need to get. We do a big vocational piece. Every woman does it, so that by the time they leave Serenity House, they're either employed or they have a job resume in hand to be employed. We have trauma-informed groups, Voices Against Violence if they need counseling for domestic violence. We have psychiatry services. If they need to go to the dentist, a lot of women need to have a primary care doctor set up. So we set them all up in the 6 months so that they're ready when they leave. They have services intact. We also, at the end of their stay, and Leanne did the same thing, we referred her to sober housing in the area so that she could, the foundation that she worked on, friends, therapy, the career center, her job, she could keep all those. And we transferred her to sober housing in Framingham, and she lived there so that she didn't have to move away and she didn't have to lose or start over again. I think that's the biggest part and the biggest success that Serenity House has, is that there's a continuum of care afterwards.
Leanne, was there something you had to do before actually being admitted to the program in Serenity House? Is there certain requirements of where you have to be in terms of your recovery?
Well, you have to be a self-admitting alcoholic or drug addict, which
So
means
it's voluntary.
Yeah, you have to know that you have a problem. No one can force you to go to Serenity.
Detox.
My situation was, I mean, there's a lot of different situations. I went to detox, and from detox I went to Serenity House.
All right. And how is it that you found out about Serenity House?
Well, when you go to detox, they have a lot of services that help you to try to get into further treatment if that's what you want to do. And so a counselor at the detox helped me find Serenity House.
Wonderful. And Jane, when a woman comes to Serenity House, now this is all new, I imagine very difficult, you know, to make changes. And what do you do at Serenity House to help each new person acclimate to the requirements and the program and the schedule?
We take a senior resident and we buddy her with the new client. You know, first we welcome them into the house and we sit down, and the counselors and myself, and we'll, you know, talk. There's steps before they get to Serenity House. There's an interview, so we find information out about them. But the day that they walk in, we will sit there, the staff and myself, with the client and introduce them to the residents. And the residents are the ones that really carry the woman through and make them feel comfortable, because I tell every woman that goes through, you felt uncomfortable the first day, so don't make it that way for the new client. So it's a peer-ran community, so they help each other.
Now, I know you've had a lot of success in Serenity House, and those that go through the program are really to be congratulated. Do you ever have women, though, who come through the front door and say, uh-oh, no, this isn't for me, I'm out of here?
I have a lot, and I think it's just fear, too. They'll walk in, they'll look around, and they'll say, there's too much structure here, because we're very structured. We're structured from 7 o'clock in the morning till 10:30 at night. and a woman will come in and she'll just say, "Oh, this is too much. I can't do this." They don't want the structure right then. So if they go back to wherever they came from and they decide that this, maybe I do need some structure, and they give me a call back, or we'll always welcome them back.
Okay.
So.
And not everybody always, succeeds in anything at the
Right.
first time. So
Yeah.
your doors are open
Yeah.
for anyone who
Even
wants
for
to.
the ones that have completed the program, they might go back out there and they might test the waters again and have to come back, and we'll take them back.
Leanne, so the first, I think we were talking before, the first 30 days or something, that was the most difficult part of making that adjustment. If you're willing, can you tell us a little bit about what the schedule is like that Jane referenced, that you're very scheduled in the program, and what
Well,
would a day how would a typical day kind of be?
You wake up at 6 in the morning. We have breakfast, and then you have to be dressed and ready by 8 o'clock for the first group. Bed made, room cleaned. And then after that, it's pretty much groups all day. 8 to 9, we have a morning reflections group where all the women meet and we read the, we read the morning readings and we discuss them. At 9 o'clock, we have another group from 9 to 10. The schedule's probably kind of changed a little bit. Then we have the vocational training in between then. Then we break for lunch. It's pretty much just groups all day. The counselors usually pick which groups we have.
Okay. The vocational training, tell us a little bit about that. Jane, do you want to start? What are the types of vocational training that is offered?
The first 30 days is basically a reading test, a math test, an English test. It's something to work on, and some women whiz right through it and some have a difficult time. The second phase of the program is a volunteer job. We are always looking for new volunteer places. It's 2 days out of the week. We will send a woman to a volunteer place that will accept a Serenity woman for a couple hours a day, doing some sort of maybe office work or store work or retail work. And that goes for 30 days. And then the third month, we send them to the Career Center down in Framingham. It's 300 Howard Street. And they work on their resumes, job readiness, job skills, computer skills, and they do that for a month. And by the time they're done, at the 4th month, they have the resume in hand. And then they go out and they look for employment. And I have to say that I know the economy's bad, and with the job situations out there, every woman comes back with a job.
That's wonderful.
They're determined.
So you're finding a lot of support in the community of
Yes.
businesses
Yeah.
to be able to place women who are looking for jobs.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Leanne, when you were at the home, I shouldn't say home, well, it was a home, I guess. When you were there assigned chores and things that you had to do? Does everyone participate in the operation of Serenity House?
Yes, every week everyone is given a different chore. Serenity House is a really big house, so there's enough chores for everyone. And every night we have a certain time span that we're supposed to, do our chores. And then usually a peer or a counselor goes around and checks them. And you do that every night for the whole time you're at Serenity. Every week the chore changes.
Okay, so when you're doing a chore, you're doing it not only for yourself, but for everyone who's there.
Yes.
Okay, so cooking, cleaning, laundry.
Well, we have, usually I think it's the 2nd month after you're there, you get the chore of the dishwasher, which is 3 women do it at once because we have a really big kitchen. And it helps us work on teamwork and time management. And you have to be up there 3 or 4 times a day to do the dishes. And then you do that for a month, and then after that you go into the kitchen and you cook for all the women. You make breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that's also a group chore. It's another way to teach us time management and teamwork. and you do those 2 chores for a total of 2 months you're in the kitchen.
Excellent.
So if you have like no cooking skills, we teach each other how to cook. A lot of women come in and don't really know how to cook at all, and that's something else that you learn while you're
So
there.
you learn while you're there. Yeah. And you also mentioned, Jane, that you are able to take in some women who are pregnant or have young infants. Women who come to Serenity House that have, say, older children that aren't staying with them, are they able to have visitation?
They are. Some women have visitation during the work week. We try not to, we try to help the custodian that's taking care of the children. But every Saturday night, a woman can have her child spend the night from Saturday to Sunday. And if that's not possible, we'll try to work with the custodian too, so that the woman gets reunited with her children. And we have infant babies that live there, so a woman can call us up and say she's pregnant, or she can say she just delivered a baby. There is an age limit that we are required to take under 4 months old, because we're not equipped for toddlers to live there all the time, but we do have some toddlers that come and visit. So we have infant babies. We also, the mothers and the babies do the same things that the single women there do. They get a little bit more free time because it's exhausting when you come in and you have to take care of a child in a program, but they still cook. They do a chore. They take care of their baby. They go to outside meetings. We really push the 12-step program for the women. We believe that works. And they take their children to the meetings with them at night, or they have a meeting inside the house. So it's really nice. The women with the children get their own rooms, and then the single women, they double up with a peer, so they live 2 to a room.
Okay. Or women who have older children, but the children aren't there, they'll double up and...
Right, or we have a big living room downstairs with pull-out couches, and if they have more than 2 children, they can stay in the living room.
Now, Leanne, you mentioned you do have children.
Yes.
3, I believe you said?
Yes.
Yeah. So you had to leave them behind while you were at
Yes.
Serenity House. And how did you handle that, and who gave you support?
Well, my mother-in-law was... I was grateful enough that my mother-in-law could take my children. The difference with me was she lives in Chicago, so my children were out of state.
Oh, so you weren't really able to see them while you were there. That must have been very hard.
Yeah, it definitely was. But they did come out to visit, and it was longer than a weekend, but the house allowed them to stay at the house with me. And they still helped me, like, for Christmas, send them stuff, and I talked to them every night. And it was hard, but I got through it.
And now you're reunited.
Yes.
That's great. Wonderful.
Now Leanne is a full-time mother, and I have to say, like every woman that graduates and walks out of Serenity House, and Leanne is definitely, they walk out with honor and dignity, every woman, and they carry this among the community and the alumni. It's just wonderful to watch.
Now, you mentioned earlier on in the program that you've received a lot of support from Hopkinton as a community. Tell me a little bit about that. What type of support does Serenity House receive from Hopkinton? Who's involved?
We have a lot of support from the Vineyard Church, from St. Paul's Church, from a lot of churches in Hopkinton. The Catholic Church will call and ask if any woman wants to go to church. It's on a volunteer base. They'll come up and they'll drive them every Saturday night. There's services on Sundays that come to the house. The Eagle Scouts, the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, I mean, all of Hopkinton. The greatest, one day I received a call. This is when the land was being sold. we didn't know if we were buying it, and I just run the program. I don't know anything about the land. And somebody had called up, and I just thought it was wonderful. And she was asking me, what's going to happen? Where's Serenity House going to go? She told me, I wish I could get all the people in Hopkinton to purchase a house so that you all don't have to leave. We had thought we were going to have to leave. And I could have started crying right then. The love and support that the Hopkinton community gives. One woman throws a party at her house every year with all her friends that, you know, have a hobby, maybe selling candles or jewelry, and she throws this huge party in her house, and all the proceeds go to Serenity House. So it's just really nice that people pay it forward to help others. People drop off their clothes to us because we do the vocational piece, and because a lot of our women that come to us don't have a pair of socks. They don't have a jacket. People bring in their clothes that they no longer need. It's just wonderful what people do for Serenity House.
So thank you, Hopkinton, for being so
Yes,
supportive. Huh? That's
yeah.
wonderful. What types of things is Serenity House in need of at this point in time?
We're always
Anything
in
in
need
particular?
of women's care, cosmetic products, shampoo, towels, any kind of hair products, tampons, pads, diapers. The 4 mothers' rooms that I have are always constantly filled with bassinets, cribs, baby accessories, and I'm able to give every woman that comes through Serenity House a crib that she can leave with when she starts her own apartment, a crib so that she doesn't have to go out and purchase one. Or it's just wonderful that that we get the support that we do.
Now, when women have graduated from the program, and you mentioned they might go on to other housing and then eventually housing on their own, I think, Leanne, you're finally in your own apartment?
Yes.
And, well, transportation, you know, is very expensive, though. You know, to get to work, if you know you're able to place women. And do you have some sort of transportation support until they're able to buy their own car, or how does that work for them to get to work and get around?
No, they use the lift in
lift.
Framingham.
Okay.
I mean, in Hopkinton, that will take them to Framingham, and the lift runs down 135. We live at the top of Wilson Street, so they have to walk.
They have to. That's a pretty good
We're
walk,
always asking
especially
for
in the wintertime.
flashlights.
Yeah, in the wintertime.
Flashlights and umbrellas. When they get a
boots in
job,
the
we're
winter.
like, here's your flashlight. We have a driver at Serenity House that transports the women when it's rainy or cold.
Oh, okay, down to where they
down
can catch
to the
lift.
lift. Yes. No, we just try to help them. We do a budgeting with them and say, you know, I wish I could give everybody a car. It'd make their lives a little bit easier, huh? We're having a function on Saturday, and I'm having somebody pick her up because she has 3 kids, so we need a big enough car that will fit the 3 car seats.
Well, it sounds like there's so many support programs that you offer. Is there anything new that's coming up in the program that hasn't been part of it before? GED or anything that?
Our company has GED classes, but with transportation and being night classes, now we're going to start working with the women that, if we get a woman that can take the GED test, we're going to let that happen.
Getting their high school diploma,
High school
essentially,
diploma in the first 3 months. So that will be our main focus, is to work with that woman closely in the first 3 months so that she's able to have a GED by the time she graduates. So yeah, that's going to be something new.
Leanne, if there was anyone in the audience watching today that may need help or is thinking about it, what would you say if they're hesitating? What would you tell them about Serenity House and how it helped you?
Well, I went to Serenity House, and like I had nothing. Serenity House was the only place that helped me when no one else could help me. And so anyone that's hesitant, I would say to try it. You know, it doesn't hurt to try it. If they're not ready, they won't do it. But I mean, Serenity House has changed my life dramatically. You know, I'm a single mother today. I have all 3 of my children. I have my own apartment. But before, like, I didn't even work. I've never had a job. You know. Today, like, I take care of my kids and I do it all, and I'm sober.
Wonderful. Do you ever go back to Serenity House and talk to new women who've come there for help?
Yeah, we have a commitment once a month that goes to Serenity House, and all of the graduates go. And so I go then, and I'm still really close with all the girls that were in the house with me. They're a huge part of my support system. We babysit for each other so we can go to meetings, and
so you make some friendships there too, hopefully some lifelong ones.
definitely.
Is that both of you could be here today, and I see that I've unfortunately run out of time, which we could talk so much more about this, and I would love to have you come back. But I do look forward to maybe doing a follow-up program, and we can talk about more in depth and what some of the needs are, and maybe any special events, fundraisers and things that you have coming up. So Serenity Houses and the services are an important part of the Hopkinton community, and I can't thank both of my guests enough for being here and for the support that Serenity House provides to women and children who are putting their lives back together. Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Leanne. To my audience, if you need help or know someone who does, please watch the credits at the end of the show for the Serenity House website, or call their number 508-435-9040 for information, to request a referral form, or to make a donation. Thank you to HCAM, the people who made this show possible today. Until next time, I'm Mary Arnott, signing out with Attitude. Thank you very much.